So, I would like to welcome all of you to our annual Hellenic Heritage Month event at Queen's Park. Now, to kick things off, please join me in welcoming Nikos Surmalis in singing the Greek and Canadian anthems. Nikos, please come forward.
Σε γνωρίζω από την κόψη του σπαθιού τη τρομερή. Σε γνωρίζω από την όψη που με διάμετρα η δική. Απ' τα κόκαλα βγαλμένη των Ελλήνων τα ιερά και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χεροχερελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χεροχερελευθεριά και σαν πρώτα αντριωμένη χεροχερελευθεριά. Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Ζήτω η Ελλάς, ζήτω ο Καναδάς.
So I'm going to start our proceedings by making a few introductions of our special guests and the organizations that are here today. And these are all leaders of our Greek community. The Greek community of Toronto, the Cypriot Federation of Canada, the Hellenic Heritage Foundation, the Hellenic Initiative Canada, the Hellenic Home for Seniors, the Hellenic Lawyers Association, the Pan-Macedonian Federation, the Hellenic Community of York, the Hellenic Canadian Board of Trade, the Hellenic Studies Initiative at the Monk School of Global Affairs, the Greek Students Association at the University of Toronto, the Greek media, and not to be forgotten, the Brotherhood Ponti and Panagia Soumelia. Please let me know if I have not mentioned anyone here. Yes. The Greek Canadian,
Hellenic Canadian Congress.
the Hellenic Canadian Congress, and of course, our eminent Greek media. I would also like to thank, before the proceedings get started, I want to thank some people who've really made this evening such a success. So I'm taking the opportunity now because I have your undivided attention. I would like to thank Nick Nikopoulos and his team who provided the wonderful food this evening. Peter and George Manzioris from Asteria Wine Imports who have provided our Greek wines. Stelios and Stefanos, our musicians. The dancers from the Greek community of Toronto. Helen Gaidzasis, who is a phenomenal photographer, our official photographer here. Along with Peter Chaltas, president of Pop-Up Clothing, who's responsible for the design of the beautiful Hellenic Heritage Month pin that many of you are wearing. If you haven't got your pin yet, please let us know and we will give them to you later today. Yes? Oh, I'm getting to that. I would also like to introduce my colleagues who have joined us this evening, the Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism, Graham McGregor, the Minister of Energy and Mines, Stephen Lecce, the Solicitor General of Ontario, Michael Kersner, the Minister of the Environment, Todd McCarthy, the Chair of our Ontario BC Caucus, Will Boma, MPP Aris Babikian, MPP David Smith, MPP Joseph Krasinski. Colleagues, have I forgotten anyone? We're all good? Okay. So, we are so honored that you have joined us today at Queen's Park in celebration of Hellenic Heritage Month in Ontario. It's a time to reflect and celebrate the rich culture, enduring spirit, and remarkable contributions of Greek Ontarians to our province's story. Being here today, we can reflect on all of the Gala erga that volunteers, staff, and friends of our Hellenic organizations have done. And this very much reminds me of a quote by Aristotle, roughly translated, "The whole is greater than the sum of its parts." This speaks to the power of community, heritage, and shared identity. Values deeply rooted in our Greek culture. It reminds us that while individuals contribute in their own way, it is through unity and collective effort that we create something truly great and lasting. And that is at the heart of what Hellenic Heritage Month celebrates. In 2019, my private member's bill, the Hellenic Heritage Month Act, became law. And with unwavering support of Premier Doug Ford. Because of the hard work and leadership, Ontario is the first and only jurisdiction to enact such a law in Canada, and I believe we are the only jurisdiction in the world to have done so. But I hope to see other jurisdictions follow our lead. Hellenic civilization that has given us timeless gifts, democracy, philosophy, literature, the arts, and the pursuit of knowledge and justice. These ideals have not only shaped the foundation of Western society, but have lived on through the lives of Greek immigrants who carried their heritage across the seas and into the very heart of Ontario. The story of Greek Ontarians is one of resilience, community, and faith. In the early 20th century, Greek immigrants arrived and settled in Toronto and in other parts of Ontario with hopes for a better life. Prior to World War II, in Toronto, the Greek population was about 3,000 and has had established small neighborhoods in downtown Toronto. Businesses thrived, churches were built, traditions flourished, but their journey was not without hardship. The Toronto anti-Greek riots of 1918 were a painful and ugly chapter in our city's history, when a mob of up to 10,000 people took to the streets, targeting Greek Canadians and destroying their businesses. And it was a stark period that tested the community's resolve, but they endured and they rebuilt. And over the years, Greek Ontarians have made their mark in every facet of life here. Business, politics, education, the arts, public service, enriching our society and sharing our values, while at the same time helping to shape a more inclusive and dynamic Ontario. Today we can stand proud and strong, and we are rooted in the fabric of life in Ontario. 39 parishes, Greek language schools and community centers, 3 long-term care homes for seniors, the HHF chair in Hellenic Studies at York University, and the permanent program at the Monk School at the University of Toronto. Last year, we witnessed a historic event, the visit to Canada by Kyriakos Mitsotakis, the Prime Minister of Canada. And as you all know, we had not had a Greek Prime Minister in Canada in over 40 years. This visit on Greek Independence Day included a bilateral meeting with Premier Ford, our Economic Development Minister Vic Fideli, MPP Aris Babikian, and myself. It was a powerful recognition of the deep ties between Greece and Canada, and a tribute to the enduring strength and prominence of the Hellenic community here. I'm filled with so much joy that all of you are here today to thank you all for your leadership and contributions to the success of our community, to thank you for embodying the Hellenic spirit of philotimo, and to thank you that through your leadership, you inspire our next generation. Now it's fitting to recognize strength after strength, real strength, a quality ingrained in us Hellenes, and there is no other one who embodies that better than the man I'm about to introduce. Premier Ford, like King Leonidas, Premier Ford, like King Leonidas, disciplined, loyal to his people, and fearless in the fight. He's earned 3 straight back-to-back majorities by doing what others won't, standing firm, stepping up, and delivering. And as we deal with the threats waged against us by the U.S., he is a leader who can't be bullied, won't be baited, and knows how to fight back. Please join me.
Well, first of all, thank you, everyone. I love coming here every year to celebrate Hellenic Heritage Month, and thanks to you, Effie. And everything that, Effie's so modest, too. Everything she mentioned, it was Effie that did it. And I think but first of all, I just want to comment on a few things here, but before I do, I got to say hello to my friend Betty. Consul General, good to see you. You aren't getting the hug and the kiss, or you're getting and your grace. It's okay if you do. I just, again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for all the support. And because of your support, we were able to get Effie back down at Queens. That's my best pal right here. I do. Because of your support, we're able to have Effie again join us for a 3rd time from Oakville, Burlington, and she's just an amazing worker. You just have to ask any of my colleagues, one of the hardest working members that we have down here at Queen's Park, and you just heard the list. And that's probably a fraction of what you've done. You've been so outspoken, a strong voice for the Greek community, and just the diversity of the Greek community in every single sector of our lives that have been involved in one way or another, including getting us elected, Nick Kavalis, right? He's a tough guy, but he knows how to win. And again, I just want to thank each and every one of you for your contributions to Ontario. We'll always be there. We'll always have your backs. And we're just so grateful for your support. And I always mention this to our colleagues. Never forget the people that supported us. Always be there for them when you call, return the calls, and make sure you're there to support them. I'm just gonna deviate for a second because it's gonna affect everyone in this room. It's gonna affect everyone in our country. I'm not too sure if you just heard not long ago that President Trump's at it again, once again. We thought we're waiting till April 1st, or 2nd, I should say, but he's launched another economic attack to our country and right across the world globally. He's starting off with the auto sector, but as I mentioned in our press conference, you have two choices, and I'll just explain our two choices. You know, we have retaliatory tariffs, and we've launched two launches, one $30 billion and another $30 billion. We have $65 billion on the table right now. I just got off the phone with the Prime Minister, gave him my advice. The $65 billion, it will hurt us. It's going to hurt the American people. We want to inflict as much pain on the American people. And not because they're bad. They're our closest allies, by the way. When I speak to the American people, those people don't agree with President Trump. At least 67%, the poll I saw the other day, do not agree with attacking their closest ally and closest friend. When I speak to all the Congress people, no matter if it's Republican or Democrat, but specifically the Republicans, be it the Congress folks or senators or governors, not one has said, I agree with President Trump inside a room. I think they're terrified of him. And what he doesn't realize when he attacks the auto sector that's been around the auto pack since 1965, and parts go back and forth across the border 7-8 times, this is just going to create inflation on the backs of the American people. And they're trying to stockpile as many parts, when I was talking to CEOs here in Canada, to withhold these tariffs, but eventually, if this continues, the assembly plants in the US will shut down in Canada simultaneously. Because it goes back and forth, 50% of every auto that we make here, 50% of those parts come from the US. And I'll give you an example, a pickup truck that's produced in Oshawa is now gonna cost someone in Texas, for example, another $20,000. And he says it's easy. This is what President Trump just said. Well, it's easy. Well, they've been showing me diagrams of every part in an automobile. They come from all over the world, predominantly Canada, and he wants to pick apart every single part. I don't know how they're going to do it. The other thing he doesn't realize that you can't just flick on a switch and create an auto plant. It doesn't happen. And secondly, he doesn't have the energy, as we all know, because we're sending him energy. And thirdly, I'm going to get to that point in 1 second. Thirdly, they do not have the people. When I talk to the Canadian companies that have 127 plants, Canadian owned, down in the US, in the auto sector, they can't fulfill the jobs. Right now, they don't have enough people that are willing to go in there. They're at about 4% unemployment. They measure their unemployment a little differently than we do. But as one of the big part manufacturers said, you know, they'll show up 3 days a week, or they won't show up at all. And they don't have the people to fill the jobs. As we're buying 400% more cars off the US than Mexico, Mexico's producing about 400% more, but we buy, as I said, we buy as many cars as we sell down there. So it's going to hurt the American population and the reciprocal jobs. But we have two choices. This is where I was going. So we have two choices. We sit back and we get rolled over by him and continue run over back and forth, or we stay and fight. I prefer we stand up and fight like we've never fought before. We may feel a little pain, but we're the greatest country in the world. He has debt on his. He's the most indebted country in the world. He has over $36 trillion of debt. And, you know, a percentage GDP to debt, and I don't want to get too much into the weeds, is at 123%. Those are staggering numbers. He has a $2 trillion deficit, which, again, 6% of the GDP, inflation's only 3%, but they need money. They need money desperately. And, you know, Donald Trump always likes saying, "You're fired." I didn't think he meant his own auto workers when he said, "You're fired," because that's what's going to happen. The markets, again, if you notice after I went down there, and then we sent our team down there last week and the week before. The market settled down, right? They settled down, all of a sudden, they hear this news, the market's going down. Wait till April the 2nd, the market's gonna tumble again. At one point, it was $4.5 trillion. Inflation we're seeing down there, investment stalled, he can say whatever he wants, investment still stalled because of the uncertainty, and people are gonna feel the pain. So I'm gonna get back on track. I try to keep, calm the waters when you're in negotiations. And it's back at it again. I guess starting today, I just finished, and then we'll start going on the US media. Why I do so much US media? Because when I was doing it, it was impacting. It has massive impact to the American people. And they know it. Now let's talk about the electricity and the surcharge. We have 65 billion. The electricity is about that much on the whole scheme of things. But when I do that, it hurts the rest of the country, by the way. So he will attack the rest of the country based on what I'm saying. And as chair of the Federation, I have to respect all the other 12 other premiers. And it's just so important. And they mentioned it, to make sure anything that you go after them, keep in mind that you may be hurting, be it Saskatchewan or BC or Quebec. So we're going to still look at every single option. We're going to continue speaking with the premiers. I've called an FMM meeting with the Prime Minister tomorrow, and then we'll follow up again with another meeting on April 2nd. I just believe in one thing, no different than the pandemic. Get out there and tell the Canadian people where we're at, what's happening, be prepared. Because I'll tell you one thing, when I met Secretary Lutnick, he was very respectful, by the way, because we went back and forth with each other pretty hard on the phone. But when he was down there, he was very, very respectful. And what we want to do is just make sure that we keep the dialogue going back and forth. Because when dialogue stops, no matter what deal you're making, honestly, all heck breaks loose. And they just start going wild. So we need to stay calm. But what I did mention to him when I was down there, his name's Howard. I said, Howard, the 350, 360 million people, right now, when you and I are talking, we got gazillions of international cameras outside, the American people are just going on their merry way, not paying attention to it. I said, Howard, 40 million people are glued to their television in Canada, waiting, for the battle. I said, that's the difference. Canadians are fully engaged, and what I love about Canada, and Ontario specifically, we have 110 nationalities, and just like we are today, celebrating. But when it comes to Canada, we're all Canadian. But I'm going to finish this off. Thank you, Effie. I know the community thanks you. We thank you. You're an amazing person. And God bless each and every one. Thank you so much.
This one over here, sir.
really quick, because I know most Greeks don't take a long time in giving their speeches, right? For sure. So I would like to start with the program again, because we have a few more important people that we want you to hear from. So at this point, I am going to introduce His Grace, Bishop Athenagoras of Gala, to say a few words. Your Grace?
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and fellow citizens. Is it better now? Today we gather with hearts full of pride and gratitude to commemorate a momentous occasion in our nation's history, the anniversary of Greece's liberation from the Ottoman occupation. This is not merely a celebration of our past, but also a reflection on the enduring spirit of freedom, courage and unity that defines us as Greeks. 200 years ago, our forebears embarked on a courageous journey for freedom. With unwavering determination and immense sacrifice, they fought bravely to reclaim our nation's sovereignty, identity and dignity. Their struggle was not just for themselves, but for the future of Greece and us here today, ensuring that subsequent generations could live in a nation that treasures its liberty and rich cultural heritage. As we remember the heroes of the Greek War of Independence, let us honor their legacy by cherishing the values they held dear: freedom, democracy, justice and religion. Principles that continue to guide our nation, inspiring us to build a just and equitable society, celebrating diversity while nurturing the cultural richness that sets us apart. Today, Greece stands strong as a beacon of hope and resilience, a testament to the power of collective effort and the enduring human spirit. As we continue to build our great nation, let us do so here in Canada with the same courage, the same resilience, and the same vision that our ancestors displayed in their fight for freedom. Let us also extend our gratitude to those countries and individuals who stood by us during our struggle for independence, reinforcing our hope and belief in friendship and solidarity among nations. In the spirit of freedom and unity, let us renew our commitment to working together for the prosperity and well-being of our beloved country. Let us pass on to future generations the torch of freedom, ensuring that the sacrifices of our ancestors were not in vain. Long live Greece, long live Canada.
Next, it's my pleasure to invite our very new Consul General of the Hellenic Republic in Toronto, Yannis Azomparakis.
Honorable Premier, Ministers, members of the Provincial Parliaments, the President of the Greek community and all the other communities gathered here, distinguished guests, friends of Greece. First, allow me to convey the greetings of Ambassador Dimakis, who regrets not to be here with us, but wish every success to this event. It is truly an honor and privilege to join you today at the Ontario Parliament to celebrate the Hellenic Heritage Month. Yesterday, right outside these doors, the Greek flag was proudly raised, a powerful reminder of the courageous struggle undertaken by our ancestor in 1821, leading to the birth of Greece as an independent nation. As Consul General of the Hellenic Republic, it fills me with immense pride to reflect on the remarkable contribution Canadians of Hellenic descent have made to Ontario. The Greek community has positively shaped many aspects of society through culture, education, business, public service. Our heritage is deeply rooted in values that have significantly shaped not only Greece, but also the broader world. It was in Greece that democracy first flourished, and philosophers such as Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle laid the foundations of Western thought and civilization. It was Socrates who said, «Δεν είμαι Αθηναίος, ούτε Έλληνας πολίτης, αλλά πολίτης του κόσμου». I'm not an Athenian or Greek, but a citizen of the world, reminding us that our identities transcend geographic boundaries while also calling for respect for diversity and affirming that all humans are equal and valuable regardless of nationality. This month, proclaimed as Hellenic Heritage Month with the legislation passed in 2019, thanks to the dedicated effort of Efi Tedafilopoulos, provides a unique opportunity to acknowledge and celebrate these enduring contributions. It also allows us to appreciate and nurture the lasting bonds of friendship between Canada and Greece. These bonds extend beyond shared history and culture, encompassing dynamic economic partnership, facilitating through Canada's relationship with the European Union. Last week, our two countries further solidified the partnership by signing a Memorandum of Understanding on tourism, highlighting tourism's essential role in promoting economic growth, fostering deeper connections, and enhancing mutual understanding between our people. I sincerely thank everyone who made this event possible, and I extend my gratitude to the Province of Ontario for honoring and celebrating the significance of Hellenic heritage. Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ και χρόνια πολλά σε όλους.
Next, it's my distinct pleasure to invite up to speak the incomparable, indomitable president of the Greek community of Toronto, our own Betty Skoudakis.
Those who know me, they know that I'm not for words, I'm a doer. So please, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, before I begin celebrating Heritage Month, I want to sincerely thank Efi Tedafilopoulos, MVP, for all your knowledge in Burlington, and a true friend to the Greek community, not only the community that I represent, but the community at large. Efi, we love you, and we are with you. Mrs. Tedafilopoulos was the instrument of introducing the Hellenic Heritage Month Act in 2019, showing true dedication and to preserve and honor Hellenic culture in Ontario. A warm thanks of applause also to Premier Doug Ford, who supported the recognition of Greek Canadians contributing to our province. March is a meaningful month for Greeks around the world, and we mark the Greek Independence Day on March 25 as a symbol of courage, freedom, and enduring spirit of our people. By proclaiming March as Hellenic Heritage Month, Ontario celebrates the value, the history, the legacy of Greek Canadians, and proud part of our multicultural identity. As we remember the past, let us also look ahead with hope. May the Hellenic spirit continue to inspire unity, resilience, and provide pride for the generations to come. As I stand before you, I'm deeply moved and very emotional. When I left Greece alone at 70 years old, I never imagined that I would stand here before you at Greece Park Legislation Building speaking about Greece national rebirth. This is the greatness of Canada and Ontario that makes moments like this be possible and close to the heart. At this moment, I would like to thank you all for being here, and I also like to invite you to come to the Greek parade on April the 6th. Greek Town on the Danforth, the president is here, is waiting for you, ready and willing to really make a difference. So please join us to celebrate Independence Day. I thank you very much, and I love you.
There are many remarkable organizations with us today, and it really speaks to the strength of our community and where we are today as Ontarians of Greek origin. But each time we have this celebration, I would like to put the spotlight on one organization and have you learn a little bit more about the incredible work that they do. And so today, it's my pleasure to introduce you to Andy Sedetis, who is the president and chair of the Hellenic Heritage Foundation.
Thank you, Effie, and good evening, everyone. My name is Andy Sedetis, and I am the current president of the Hellenic Heritage Foundation. And I'm serving as president following the groundwork laid by many other distinguished Hellenic leaders as president of the HHF, including our first female president, Effie, a decade ago. Firstly, I want to congratulate and thank Effie and all her FEP colleagues for their continued efforts to have March marked as Hellenic Heritage Month in Ontario. This is a wonderful achievement and brings great pride to our Hellenic community in Ontario. Thank you, Effie. Just briefly, the Hellenic Heritage Foundation is a registered charity established almost 30 years ago with a mission to preserve and promote Hellenic education, culture, and heritage in Canada. In those years, we have established, as mentioned previously, a chair in modern Greek history at York University. We've established a Hellenic Studies program at the University of Toronto, where the Greek language courses are taught at every year of undergraduate studies. We have also established the HHF Greek Canadian Archives at York University, which aims to collect, preserve, and create resources relating to the history of Greeks in Canada. Our organization also supports other Greek community organizations, such as Greek schools, theater groups, dance productions, and really all Hellenic organizations that promote Hellenic culture in Canada. We try to support Hellenic student associations at the university level, and we also sponsor students every year to travel to Greece on a 2-week study program as part of the Heritage Greece program. These are just some of the programs and initiatives that the HHF undertakes to preserve and promote our Greek heritage and culture. As such, we recognize the importance and the impact of having Hellenic Heritage Month here in Ontario so that our rich Greek culture and history is celebrated and not forgotten. On our part, for Hellenic Heritage Month, I am proud to say that our award-winning HHF History Committee, in addition to all the other wonderful work they do throughout the year, such as creating podcasts, I included one called The Idea of Greece, which explores the Greek Revolution of 1821. Our History Committee conducted all-month-long walking tours along the Danforth, where for nearly 2 walking tours nearly every day in March, to over 1,200 grade 6 students at TBSB to learn about the history of the Danforth and the growing Greek community there. This month, we also supported several other events that were put on as part of Hellenic Heritage Month, including events at Havervale College and UCC here in Toronto. All of our activities are made possible by the tireless efforts of our volunteers, members, and board members, which I always want to thank when I speak. And several of our board members here tonight that I want to recognize: Tula Alexopoulos, Nick Torkos, George Elenides, Jim Lagos, as well as our managing director, George Gavlidis. I hope I didn't see that. And of course, as a grassroots fundraising organization, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without the generosity of our supporters and donors, and through our fundraising efforts. So I'll also give a plug here, is that we have our annual Blue and White Ball Gala on June 7th. Last year we were honored to have Premier Ford, of course, several other MPPs and MPs attend, and we hope to see them all again, and everyone else here tonight to help celebrate with us on that evening. So again, we thank Effie, the Premier, all of the MPPs for designating March as Hellenic Heritage Month, and we want to thank Effie and her team for organizing this wonderful event. Thank you, and Zito Yolanda.
Last, but not least, is our remarkable, young, exciting, energetic, new Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism. His name is the Honorable Graham McGregor, and he comes from a riding in Brampton. And he's very well known for being able to speak and sing Punjabi. And so I have put it to the test that he needs to actually start to learn a bit of Greek. What do you think? So, Minister, we're going to invite you to the blue and white ball that to talk to you about, and we're going to get you on the dance floor as well. So, let me introduce to you Graham McGregor.
Thank you, Effie. We might have drawn that one out. Betty taught me that. Look, I'll be short and sweet. I know there's a lot of speeches. I'll be short and sweet. The short is unfortunately genetic, but the sweet is my choice, and because Betty asked me to, so I'll be sweet as well. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you as a newly appointed Minister of Citizenship and Multiculturalism for my first official appearance at Hellenic Heritage Month. And thank you, Effie, so much for passing that bill in 2019, the caucus members that supported it, and making sure that every year at Queen's Park we acknowledge the month of March as Hellenic Heritage Month. I got a speech, but I don't know if I can open it here. We're trying our best. Before I continue, I just want to make sure we, I know a lot of people have said it, but Effie, MPP Trantafilopoulos, thank you so much for your leadership. If the Premier is Leonidas, maybe you're like Alexander the Great or something. You've been able to take on so many challenges, not just for the Greek community, but for your constituents and frankly for families across this province, whether it's on healthcare or other files. And I can truly say that the province is better for your leadership and your service. Thank you very, very, very much. And I know that the Greeks invented democracy, and I know that MPP Trantafilopoulos gives a lot of advice to the Premier, which is maybe why he's so good at winning elections. Getting us elected 3 times, myself twice. This is my second term that I'm here. Thank you, Consul General, for being here. Congratulations on your new appointment. We look forward to working with you collaboratively for both of our communities. Although I'm only a week on the job, I think you're a few months, you're more of a veteran than I am. Your Grace, pleasure to be here with you as well. And Betty, thank you for being so warm. And Andy as well, and thank you for everything you do to preserve culture. It's an important time in our country where I think that we can learn from the lessons of Greek Canadians and Greek people. Being such an old culture and a resilient people going through so many hard times in your history, we are at a hard time in our history where we're having our sovereignty questioned, right, as Canadians. And we think of Canada as such a stable, strong country, and we are, but we're a very young country. And if we don't unite, if we don't make the right decisions, not only as political leaders, but as community and business leaders in your own neighborhoods, we all need to make those right decisions so that Canada can survive for thousands of years the way that the Greek people have. A beautiful part about our country is there's no barrier to being proud of where you're from and being proud of where you are. And my commitment to you and our commitment as a government, we want to make sure that we support you in all of your efforts to raise your children proudly in their Greek culture, but we also have an accountability and responsibility to be damn proud of our Canadian culture as well, and our Canadian history as well. So as we gather, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you for your leadership in our province, but also for making sure that we as public servants are held accountable by giving us ideas, making sure we do what's right and letting us know when we're veering a little bit wrong. It's an honor to serve you. I look forward to doing it with all of our colleagues that are here in the room. And I just want to say again, happy Independence Day, happy Hellenic Heritage Month. Efaristo. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Minister. So that concludes all of our speeches. We've been all very, very patient, and because our program had to shift a little with the Premier having to do some media today, it meant that he couldn't be with us all afternoon. Normally he comes and he stays, and you have an opportunity to spend a little bit more time with him. So I'm sorry that he wasn't able to stay right till the end, but we will endeavor to bring him to the Blue and White Hall. So all of you who are going will see him there. Before we conclude, I wanted to let you know that we have put out some incredible desserts in another room over here to the right on a boardroom. So if you haven't had an opportunity to have any of the wonderful sweets, they're there waiting for you. And I also would be very remiss if I didn't take this opportunity to thank the Office of the Premier, the staff of the Premier who helped us bring this event today. Along with my incredible, extraordinary, small but mighty team. They're here helping behind the scenes. And I want to thank all of them staff. Oh, okay, so Betty says, we'd like you to come forward. Thank you, everybody.